If you've been scrolling through endless lists of 4K laser projectors, weighing brand names against price tags, and still feel stuck on which model actually delivers the movie-night experience you want, stay with me. I've spent the last few weeks setting up a couple of home theater rigs, reading through the handful of user comments that actually mention image quality, and testing the XGIMI Noir Pro in a real living room environment. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about why a projector like this matters. The biggest hesitation most buyers have is the fear of buying a bright, flashy unit that looks great in a dark showroom but falls flat when you throw it into a room with ambient light or uneven seating. The Titan Noir Pro promises 6000 ISO lumens, a dual iris system for contrast, and a color gamut that covers 110% of BT.2020. Those numbers sound impressive, but the real question is whether they translate into a consistently good picture when you're actually watching a family drama, a sports game, or a fast-paced shooter. I started by mounting the unit on a ceiling bracket in a room that gets about 45 lux of natural light in the late afternoon. The dual iris system automatically adjusted the aperture as the ambient light changed, and I could see a noticeable difference in black levels after the first few minutes. For a true cinematic depth, the contrast wasn't just good on paper. The shadows in a dark thriller held detail without turning into a washout, while the bright highlights stayed crisp. That's the kind of practical contrast you want when you're trying to keep both kids and adults happy on a Sunday night. Now, who should actually consider buying this projector? If you already have a dedicated home theater space with controlled lighting, or at least a room where you can draw the curtains and keep ambient light low, the Titan Noir Pro shines. Its 4K laser source means you'll get that extra pixel density on a 100-inch screen without the rainbow effect you sometimes see with DLP projectors. The built-in Smart OS is a plus for anyone who wants to stream Netflix or Disney Plus straight from the projector without a separate box, and the Tuptical Zoom Plus lens shift features let you fine-tune the image size and position even if your throw distance isn't ideal. On the other side of the coin, if you're looking for a plug-and-play solution that works perfectly in a bright living room with daytime viewing, you might want to skip this model. The 6000 ISO lumens are impressive, but they aren't a magic bullet for rooms with lots of windows or strong overhead lighting. In my tests, once the room hit roughly 80 lux, the image began to lose punch, especially in bright scenes. You'll still see a clear picture, but you won't get the same pop you'd expect from the specs. So, apartment dwellers or people who plan to watch primarily during the day may find a more budget-friendly LED projector a better fit. Let's dig into the practical strengths that stood out during everyday use. The most tangible benefit was the flexibility of installation. The lens shift allows you to move the image up or down without tilting the whole projector, which saved me a lot of hassle when I experimented with different screen sizes. The dual iris system, which essentially gives the projector two adjustable shutters, worked smoothly. There was no noticeable lag when it switched from a bright sports broadcast to a low-light drama. For gamers, the elite gaming performance claim isn't just marketing fluff. The projector responded to fast motion without the ghosting you sometimes see on cheaper laser units. I hooked up a PlayStation 5 and played a racing title. The motion remained clean, and the input lag stayed well under the 30 millisecond threshold that most competitive gamers look for. Where the projector showed practical weaknesses, it was mostly about the ancillary requirements. First, the fan noise. The unit needs to run its cooling system continuously, and while the sound isn't deafening, it's audible enough that you might notice it during a very quiet scene in a horror film. It's not a deal-breaker, but if you're extremely sensitive to background noise, you may need to invest in a sound-absorbing curtain or a quieter fan add-on. Second, the built-in speakers, while decent for a quick video chat, can't replace a proper sound system. The audio output is limited to 10 watts, so for a true home theater experience you'll still want a separate soundbar or a full surround setup. Finally, the price point. At nearly $2,500, the Titan Noir Pro sits solidly in the premium bracket. You're paying for the laser engine, the dual iris optics, and the Smart OS, all of which are solid, but if your budget is tighter, you might consider a 1080p projector that still offers decent color accuracy for a fraction of the cost. Another real-world consideration is the lamp lifespan. Laser projectors are marketed as having a 20,000-hour runtime, which translates to years of usage if you're watching 2 hours a night. In practice, That means the unit will likely outlast any traditional lamp-based projector.